You fill me up with light before it quickly fades away. You make me dizzy.
Okay, so Mark here from Rock and Load. I'm joined this evening by Zoe, all the way from LA. Zoe is the front woman for LA indie rockers Bittersweethearts. The guys have just dropped their latest and debut single called Hate to Love. And Zoe's here today to tell us all about their plans for world domination. Zoe, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure. So tell us a little bit about the background to the band. So you guys are relatively new.
Yeah, so I was in another band for 5 years before I started this one, and with my identical twin, and we kind of over the pandemic, we're gonna do our own things, and so my manager Ollie, now my manager, I reached out to him, he reached out to me. He was like, okay, let's make your dream band, and then we held auditions and auditioned like a lot of people, and then I like basically handpicked my dream band. Like this was like March or April.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're brand new and there's a lot of people excited about us already. So it's
Yeah,
exciting.
there seems to be a buzz already. You guys have quite a polished platform really to launch yourselves from.
A polished platform.
Platform, yeah. I was looking at the website, for example, earlier on. So you sort of already have a real marketing strategy about the feel and vibe of the band.
That's all my manager's really good at that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm more of like the Instagram girl myself. That's all I really know how to do.
And are you from LA originally yourself?
Yeah, so I'm from LA, first generation, like California. Like my parents, my mom's from Sweden, my dad's from Mexico, so
Okay.
Swedish Mexican, first gen LA.
And is there sort of big cultural influences then coming from both sides?
Yeah, so both sides of my family have been involved with music. Like my great uncle is Pedro Infante, which is like the Latin American Elvis. So my dad's also a musician. All my siblings are musicians. My mom is not, but my mom was a model, so that's where I'm like a mix of my parents perfectly. So
Yeah. And so you said you came from a band which you were in previously for about 5 years. So what sort of style was the previous band?
that was like a surf punk band with my identical twin sister. Um, all throughout high school, we had that band. And over the pandemic, we kind of just wanted to see like what else was out there. Like we just honestly got put on a pause and then she signed a contract and then I started a new band and yeah, now we're kind of doing our own things, but it's nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can work together one day with
Yeah, so is it strange then being apart from her creatively?
Yes and no. Writing with my sister has always been amazing. Um, but it's kind of nice to get like an outside perspective. Like it's really nice to grow. Like I feel like we already kind of achieved all that we could with each other and we needed to kind of branch out into our own um like twins, they're so tight knit and we're so influential on each other. So it's really nice to like have my own voice in her as well. So
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And so like where did your early sort of musical influences come from?
I was raised on the Beatles, the Stones, Blondie, the Zombies, like Carole King, Nora Jones. There's a lot of just I'm really influenced by like 60s a lot. And then yeah, a lot of 60s influences for sure. It's like
yeah.
Favorite.
And would that have came from your parents, your father, for example, or?
Probably growing up like in a world where I thought the Beatles, like when I would hear that when I was little, I thought it came out like yesterday. I didn't know it was old. I grew up listening to all old music. So to me it was new. To me it was everyone else listened to it too. So it really kind of just like changed the way I appreciate music, and now to see like everything that's great going on with the music world, which is amazing and cool and different, but I would love to try to bring back some of like the old roots.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. It is interesting though, as you say, because everything's sort of cyclical and it comes back around. And the likes of the Beatles and a lot of those bands are so embedded and ingrained in our society through television, through advertisements, and through movies, so that they feel really relevant all the time.
yeah. It's it's crazy. Like everything with social media now, everything's just at the tip of your fingertips. So it's it's crazy, but it's it's cool.
Yeah, and obviously you're of this more modern generation as well, with the social media, which for older generations probably wouldn't be as familiar with it. Do you find that instantaneous connection with people a beneficial thing, or is it something that you can find can be a heavy burden as well?
Social media definitely has its pros and cons. Like, yes, it is my business kind of like it's the way I reach my fans. It's the way like I like gain fans and find the people who I'm trying to like show my music to. But at the same time, like there's so much input and there's so much like sensory overload
Yeah,
on social media where everything kind of just gets buried and you don't even know what's really real or what's not, or like it's definitely weird and it's still like relatively new, and I feel like no one will really be able to tell like the effects of social media until later. So
I
we'll
know. We're all part of an experiment at this stage, aren't we?
yeah, weird time
Yeah,
in music and arts and anything like that, because everyone is an artist, everyone's putting stuff out, but at the same time it's easier to get picked up instantly from all over the world, just like if you get lucky in that right second right time kind of thing. So it's weird, it's definitely very surreal.
yeah. And out of curiosity, I'm sure if you probably have artists that you follow yourself. Who do you admire that does it really well?
Like current artists,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to think. I know one of my good friends through the music scene. Haven't seen her in a couple of years, but she's part of this band out of SoCal called the Aqua Dolls. Her
yeah,
name's
yeah,
Melissa.
yeah. I know them. Yeah,
Um, she she's been doing really great, like with TikTok and Instagram, and like she's getting more and more recognition, which she totally deserves. So it's really cool to see, people who I grew up like in the scene with, to like see their dreams coming true. Also, sitting on Stacy, which is another friend's band. They just booked their like first, maybe second now, like US tour. They have fans everywhere. Like we grew up over the past like few years. Like when I was still in high school, I'd be playing with them, and it's cool to see like friends and people like mutually get that recognition through social media. So
yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. And tell me about LA then, as a place to grow up, and maybe there must be so many opportunities, but equally heavily saturated area with the amount of bands and competition.
totally. So same, like LA is kind of the same effect as social media. Like everyone's an artist,
Yeah,
everyone's putting stuff out, everyone's putting out content, everyone like either wants to be famous or just wants to be rich. Like there's like it's crazy. So it's definitely it's honestly rare to find someone who says they're not in music or not in talent or not in like it's worker the other day. Um, this guy came in and was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And she was like, "Oh, I just like work and blah blah blah." Oh, you're not an artist, not a musician? Like that's so rare. You're just a normal girl. Like that doesn't exist anymore.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
so funny because everyone is doing that. but LA is also the place to be discovered at. So even that's why there's so many people here, you know? So I'm grateful to be here. I have a lot of connections and opportunities, but at the same time, it's definitely a struggle, you know?
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
but I do
even
love it.
yeah, even for obviously people who are within the industry, you know, they must get tortured by people who want to be famous and want to have a break, you know. So it's got to be tough on both sides of the fence, you know, for those
Yeah.
who are working
The
in it
whole
and for
music
those.
industry is just like on both sides,
Yeah,
just so oversaturated and so much of the same thing. It's just like, I don't know. Not, I just kind of want to bring back some difference.
yeah. Well, your single, for example, the debut single, it's quite a sultry sort of sound. You talked about maybe likes of say Nora Jones or Lana Del Rey. It has that sort of vibe.
Yeah, that's definitely Nora Jones. Huge influence on me, like from when I was little. So yeah, hearing that makes me happy because I love her.
Good, good, good.
Um,
And what about yourself then? So like when did you discover your voice?
so I always had a really deep, raspy voice, like my whole life. And being a twin, my twin's voice was super high and like more normal, I guess. And so I always hated my voice. Like I used to do like musical theater as a kid. I had this vocal coach like for like one of the shows I was going to be in. She was just like, she can't sing, like she has to get her tonsils removed, like she'll never be able to be a soprano, like she should just quit, like blah blah blah. And like that stuck with me for so long, just feeling like I could never have a voice like other people. Throughout my whole life I always hated it. And then when I started my band, like let's see, like sophomore year of high school, I must have been like 15, like I finally, like people were like, your voice is so cool, like, and it just really kind of changed, like maybe it's cool to not have what everyone else has, even though growing up with something no one else has is rough. It's definitely something I'm really grateful for today. So
Yeah, well, some of the most distinctive vocalists out there are quite unique. You know, like so say Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses, or people like that who have a really distinctive and instantly recognizable quality to their voice. It's something that, especially probably in the recording industries, is really highly sought after.
yeah, it's definitely like the raspy thing is fun too, but being able to sing low, and now like my vocal range can go from like alto to soprano. So with age, like I feel like my voice just gets better. It's like wine.
Yeah. And do you play instruments as well yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up playing instruments, mostly bass and guitar. I was in orchestra playing bass for years, stand-up bass, and then jazz band. So love bass, I love guitar. My first instrument was the harp though. That didn't last very long, but I loved it.
Not very rock and roll. Not too many harp solos and songs these days. And so tell me about musical theater. Is that something that's just like every kid in LA has to do? Is that standard for the course?
So I did musical theater because like at my school, because the thought of doing sports literally like would drive me up a wall.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've always been so into the arts. Like I honestly don't have like an athletic bone in my body. I mean, besides like surfing, and I did cheer, but people still argue to this day that those aren't sports. They're kind of just like extracurriculars. So yeah, definitely anything in the arts, like especially because I don't know, acting is just such an escape. Um, I love it. It's also I'm really, really weird. So it's really great for my weirdness to shine
Yeah, yeah, you need an outlet
without
for these
any
things.
judgment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so tell me then, you talked about forming the band. So who did you get together around you then?
To form the band.
Yeah.
Like who are the members right now?
Yeah. Because I noticed in the promo shots it's like a 3-piece, but I saw a wee live snippet from yourselves playing in the Mint, and it was like a 5-piece, was it?
Yeah. So we have, it's gonna be it's a 5-piece. So there's vocals, bass, guitar, keys, and like rhythm guitar, and then drums. So keys and rhythm guitar are one. Um, yeah, like not all of the members are like solid right now. We're kind of
Yeah.
still like,
Working
just
through it.
testing the waters and stuff, especially with like, I don't know, everyone is in music, so obviously people are in a lot of bands. Like we just need to find, the perfect fit, the perfect commitment. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But
tough because
um,
again, everybody's has their fingers in different pies, and they're all waiting for something to connect and click, to commit. It's the music
yeah,
industry is like a revolving door of musicians, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a few set members, but I'd rather not say until it's like complete.
Okay, I won't push you on it. And so tell me then, so what's the vibe of the band? What's looking forward? What do you want to put together sound wise?
Um, I really want like a soft, like groovy 60s indie rock, like underground sound. That's kind of just what, I don't know, that's always what I've loved. And just like something about being like the song travels throughout, like the music takes you on a journey from like the suspense, but like the relief of like, I don't know, just the 60s. They just have so much good, you know what I'm saying, the vibes.
Yeah, good energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose the style of music then it's quite a free flowing sort of sound as well with the 60s stuff.
Yeah,
Not
it's
restrictive.
exactly, it's not, I don't know, it's also like not that complicated, but it's not like repetitive. It's kind of just like, I don't know, it's great.
And you,
I feel like the world needs some more of it.
yeah, that's that God's honest truth. Have you got stuff written at the moment?
Yeah, so we just recorded the first half of our first album. Um, we're still writing, recording everything, and we're gonna have it all up before tour in January. So,
Very good.
um, yeah, it's exciting. I just have so much to write about and so much to say. These past few years for me have been insane and life-changing, and like I feel like I have a message that I can reach people with, or just, I don't know. I love when people will reach out to me and be like, this, your song, like, saved me. Like, your song really helped me get through this moment. Like, because there's a surface level of the song, and then there's like the meaning and the message behind it. And like, when they tie together perfectly, it can just kind of become, it's just, I love to create art that will help people relate to stuff.
Yeah, it's the beauty of music, really, isn't it? It's can be quite open to interpretation to the listener, and everybody gets something a little different from a song. Especially if you're not maybe too detailed about the meaning of it behind it. You can leave it open to interpretation for people, and then so much more can
Totally.
be absorbed.
Yeah.
The beauty of
It's
it altogether.
yeah, it's kind of just like poetry with music.
Yeah, and
I love,
who are you listening to at the moment? Like who sort of inspires you then when it comes to this sort of stuff?
um, let's see. I've really been going through, I go like through cycles of like just all I can listen to is the same artist. So I've been really listening to Sergio Mendes, Brazil 66. Like that's been, it's actually in my record player right now. Um and I've been listening to a lot of like the Zombies. Um, I also like listening to, like, with the Zombies. It's nice because they have the keys. They have the guitar, they have like everything that I have in my band. So it's nice to hear like, you know, that,
The potential of it really sort of coming together.
yeah, it's, I love to just hear and listen to like, okay, like what could be cool that we could do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
I'm
tell me
definitely,
about the recording process. Do you like the time in the recording studio? Do you find it stressful at all?
I don't find it stressful. And even if it is stressful, like I love every part of it. It's just a part of like my creative process. Like I work really well under pressure. I work really well. Just I don't know. I put my whole heart and body and mind into my music. So when I'm recording it, it's like the best day of my life. You know,
Yeah.
it's to hear it all come together and to get that perfect take, and it's just great.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. I
Yeah.
love every part.
Yeah, and it must be really rewarding when you do hear the finished article coming back, with all the band
Oh
members
yeah,
and as a cohesive piece.
totally. It's so rewarding to write with someone and see it all come together, and the studio is magic. It's a magic place. I've actually like I've thought of song ideas in the studio for like the next recording session. It's a special place. There's a lot of inspiration and magic in there.
Yeah. You just have to keep a notepad, don't you? And every once in a while, when lightning strikes, just make a note and feed off that because the inspiration can come at any time, really.
Yeah, so I lose everything. So I always use my notes. Like my notes is my notepad. Like I'm almost out of storage with how many notes I have. Um, but yeah, and I always have my phone on me, so it's great. Like the amount of songs, and so all my songs start as poems. I've been writing poetry like for as long as I can remember. So yeah, there's just a million poems to be used and worked through and written out, and just a million possibilities that I could make. It's like I'm have an overabundance of stuff I want to put out, which is a good feeling. But
Yeah, just
it's
not
gonna,
not enough hours in the day sometimes, really.
yeah,
Yeah,
like 8 days a week on this writing stuff.
yeah. And so, did I see a live show in October for yourselves in LA?
October, yes, we are playing at the Mint this month, which is fun. I love the Mint. That was our first like real show. Our first show was at NAM. Um, but yeah, we're playing at the Mint in October, which is exciting. I think it's I want to say 23rd,
It's 25th or 26th, maybe, or something like
25th,
that. Yeah.
26th, something in the 20s.
check out the website.
Let
Um,
me check my calendar.
and so tell me then, so is this an opportunity to test the water with the new tracks you have written?
Oh yeah, um so last week we played at the Viper Room, and like 3 days prior, a guitarist and I wrote a new song, two new songs, and we like ran it once at a practice and we played it on stage like live at the show, and it was great. Like everything just clicked so well. That's why I'm so grateful for like the boys in my band. They're really tight. They
That
just know what
definitely
to
that
do.
definitely
They're great.
helps.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
But
And so, what's next in the cards for you guys? Then are you just hoping to get back into the studio and finish off the album?
yeah, so we're gonna get back in the studio in November, finish up the album, release a few more singles and music videos leading up to when we leave for tour in January, which
Okay.
is very exciting.
And what's the plan on the tour then? Is it a headline tour, or are you hoping to jump the coattails of somebody else?
So yeah, we're just going alone. It's
Okay.
just us.
In a van, living the
Yep,
dream.
the van life in the winter in Europe is gonna be very. I'm like Southern California girl. I've never been to Europe. I've never even seen the snow except for like Big Bear. So we will see. But I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Well, sure, that's what it's all
And
about. These life experiences, good or bad, or you have to
yeah,
do them.
I'm really excited to get on the road and just, you know, like reach Europe with my music, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Beats sitting at home doing nothing, so you may as well get out there and
It's
and
true.
live the dream.
It's true.
Well, look, Zoe, it's been lovely talking to you. Pleasure. And obviously, again, for everybody out there, Bittersweethearts have a debut single out now at the moment called Hate to Love. Make sure you check it out on all sort of DSPs and streaming services. Zoe, lovely talking to you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
My absolute pleasure, sure. And we'll keep in touch and look out for new music coming from you guys soon.
Yes, stay tuned.
No problem. You take care of yourself. Thanks very much now.